Good afternoon. July 20th, this is a meeting of the Griggs County Commission, scheduled meeting. Please all rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Averill.
Here.
Tranby.
Here.
Zorn.
Here.
Edlund.
Here.
Thank you, Stephanie. Wakefield's here. Take a look at the agenda. Oh, one housekeeping item before we get. We've got people here. I'm glad people are here. That's what this is all about. People coming to watch and observe what takes place, but this is not an open forum. If we want to have an open forum meeting, it has to be scheduled so that everybody on both sides of the issues has a right to speak. So again, this we will not be taking any input from the people present. That is to be with your own representative after or before. But again, we're glad you're here, and anybody can take questions after the fact. But in order to keep this meeting moving along, we won't be taking any questions from the floor. So let's look at the agenda. Any additions or approval if deemed necessary? When everybody's comfortable with the agenda, we'll need a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Motion by Tranby to accept the agenda as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Zorn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Oh, sorry, Steph. Opposed, same sign. Unanimous approval of the agenda. If you'd have a look at the July 6th meeting minutes. Look for anything that's misstated or not as you remember it taking place.
Here's the very bottom says motion by me to adjourn the meeting at 5:45. I wasn't there.
Oh.
I think you've adjourned the meeting so many times, it's just common.
That's one of my things, so. Okay.
I'll go back on the recording
Sure.
and see that, so.
Yeah.
Anything else? If not, we'll need a motion to accept the meetings as presented and dispense with the reading.
I'll motion
Motion by Zorn to accept the meeting minutes as presented, dispense with the reading. Could we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Averill. Any further discussion on the meeting minutes? Further discussion? Barring none, we'll move on to the vote. All in favor of approving the minutes as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes approved. Moving on to the bills. Sam, is there anything in there that stands out?
No.
Did you talk to,
I haven't reached out to him yet, but I
Okay.
will let you know when I do.
okay. Because like I said, it'd just be nice to figure that out, and if we do have to either replace that unit or what. Because that's the thing that's kind of a thing we should be doing every year.
Right.
Or every.
The Lexus Medical Center for an even thousand, what's,
That is a, I can't think of the word. It's like a outreach program for the employees. Not outreach, it's
Is that where you get that discount if you go through the program, is that correct? The
yeah,
insurance?
yeah. An employee EAP.
Yeah.
So we pay it and then employees have the option to go there to get free counseling, things like that or whatever, but yeah, we get a discount there.
the discount equals the payment?
Hmm?
Does the discount equal the payment?
I believe with that program you get, like, isn't like a couple, is it free sessions or something, there's some guidelines to it.
Yeah. It looks like it was only supposed to be for 250, so,
I think Chelsea came in and asked me about that, and it looked like the last payment was a while ago, so that's
Oh,
just
gotcha.
to catch up.
Gotcha.
We're behind.
okay, gotcha, yep.
Do we have receipts to that effect? We have receipts for 250, or where did this come from? This is from them?
Yes.
Okay. Wayne, I assume the leading edge equipment is for the tractor?
Tractor lease?
Yep. Everybody had time to look over the bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Well-
Right,
As presented?
as
Yep.
presented, correct.
Thank you. Thank you. Motion by Tranby to approve the bills as presented. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Zorn. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Barring no discussion, we'll move on to a roll call vote. Averill?
Aye.
Tranby?
Aye.
Zorn?
Aye.
Edlund?
Aye.
Wakefield votes aye. Bills approved. So let's skip down to the North Dakota Department of Agricultural letter. And we do have a weed officer, correct?
Yep, that's
You.
me.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yep. They said that they got numerous complaints. I didn't get one, so I don't know if nobody knows that I'm the weed officer, but I didn't get any complaints, so
You're listed on the county website as weed officer.
I do believe so.
Okay. Anything further on that?
didn't we have we used to have that $50,000 in the fund, you know? What was the reason why we put that again, or might be again?
Well, that qualified us for the money from the state,
Yeah.
which would pay for
Cost sharing?
individuals coming in and getting chemical. But in order to do that, we had to maintain 4 mills, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So in essence, it'll tie up $80,000 of taxpayer dollars in order to give away.
Okay.
So it was inverse as far as the cost benefit ratio to it.
Yeah, well, I've had a lot of landowners come and talk to me about this, you know. They used it in the years previous, you know.
Well, there wasn't a lot of use on it. I think
Yeah.
the last use was what, a couple $1,000.
That was it.
Yeah. And of course, the county has they'll spray the weeds in the ditches and that kind of
Mhm.
places also. So there's places to get that done. But yeah, there wasn't a lot for the $2,000 or $3,000 of use. State money that was coming in, we were having to put out, well, now it would be $84,000, $6,000 out there in order to justify the use of that program. So that's where that stands. It wasn't a cost benefit ratio to have to levy 4 mills in order to run the program. At the time, it wasn't determined to be anyway. Any further discussion on the Department of Agricultural letter?
Is there any penalty against us by chance on this, Jamie? You know, I mean, you follow me, it's just a letter, it's all it is, no,
I don't believe so. I was
Okay.
also contacted by a person and I
Okay.
did forward them Sam's information, talk to the weed officer. But I think we just need to get the information out to the public that we've got a weed officer
Okay.
and that people still need to take care of the noxious weeds.
Very good. Old courthouse, new courthouse.
you should have got a letter.
It's in your
We
packet.
did.
Package, yeah, there's a letter.
Yep.
And that, I wasn't at the meeting, historical side met here, when is that date? Yeah, right here. Yeah, we met, plus all the minutes are there. Yeah, June 28th, we met. I wasn't around this time, anyway. So basically, they voted unanimously not to take the building up. That was their final thoughts on that, so. Historical side we did, so.
So where does that put us?
Well, I'm just telling what they said, they didn't want to be part of it, so,
Right.
anyway. Yeah.
So now we're, sitting with what to do with the building. We haven't heard back from the federal historical.
I don't know. But wasn't there something, what was it? Beth, was something else going on with this too, like grants?
I did receive an email for one grant that came through. I forwarded it to Sam to share it, I believe.
Yeah.
I
did.
didn't, I can.
Yes,
But
right.
No, I did send it out to
Yes, you
everybody.
did send it out.
Yeah.
I think it was determined at the last meeting, we didn't have to do anything to keep it on the Federal Historical Register. It stayed on there automatically, correct? So, as it's been for the last 11 years, it's still in limbo.
If you wanted to take that down, that doesn't cost money. We have to update the National Registry of the Historical Society. That's was an option.
Okay. So that brings us back to the county tax equalization. I don't think we've got any return of our requests, have we, Jamie?
Yeah, actually I got a letter today.
Okay.
Or yesterday afternoon, I did send it.
So then, if that's the case, we'll need a motion to suspend the current commission meeting and move into reopen the not reopen, move into the county tax equalization meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah.
Maybe I
Motion,
should,
go ahead,
maybe I should have someone, I can send it to,
someone print
Was
it.
it this one that was presented to all of us? Cause I do have a letter in here that I got from the tax commissioner.
that dated yesterday.
No, it's July 6th.
Okay. I can send it to Chelsea to see if she can print it and get one to everyone. It's not a whole lot different than the July 6th.
I read it.
If you send it to me, I can get it printed.
Okay. Already sent to you.
Motion by Zorn to put the commission meeting on hold and move into the tax equalization meeting, which has been open and since the, what, 9th? So, second, do I need a second to that?
I'll second that.
Second by Tranby. Any discussion? Any discussion on moving into the county tax equalization meeting? If not, we'll move to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay,
So I received, I'll pull it. I received a letter yesterday from Brian Corsius, the North Dakota State Tax Commissioner. Pretty much says the same thing that John, that we received in the last letter that John had. It gives me a sense of urgency to get this thing fixed because the State Board of Equalization has a June 30th deadline for submitting abstracts and any supplemental, or actually the June 30th deadline. So we have a sense of urgency in getting this thing fixed. So I think we need to find out what Steph did and get that information, but I don't think that we can look at it and fix it ourselves. I think we're gonna have to try to find another county because it doesn't look like we're gonna get a whole lot of help from the state to do it. So, I think we have some urgency in trying to find another tax director from another county to help the county do this and within the next few days or week or so we can get it to the state and get it fixed. I thought it was pretty clear in my email saying that there were some admitted mistakes and that we would like some help to do it, and that they still want to know what our questions were. So I think we need to find someone from a different county, another tax director, and see if we can pay them to get this done because the citizens and taxpayers deserve this to be done correctly.
was the question ever answered? Are we required to present the state with a sales ratio tax study? Because we don't use it, of course, in the county government. That information is not used in our equalization. And I've never been able to find in the Century Code where we were obligated to do that, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't have put it in some administrative code. But the question's been asked many times over the years.
I've spoken with you before, John. I've never seen it specifically in code other than a sample. It's required for the State Board of Equalization. It's
Increase on that is $60,000. For further context, the census, 2023 census, 22 census, says the average salary in Griggs County is $41,037.12.
Some of your employees are underneath that, right, Wayne?
Yep, some are certainly under it, some are
Oh, right,
over it.
correct.
Yep, I'm not making any judgments, I'm just telling you these are the numbers.
Yeah.
36,400, the two of them.
Is that with
That's
benefits?
not including the
Yeah, so
retirement and all.
with, on an $18,000 salary, with the healthcare and retirement, the actual hourly salary is $25.98. $2600 an hour is what it comes to. And these are gross numbers, it's, you know, Social Security and things come out of it, so. So it comes to prioritizing again. What are the priorities? Where are the salaries? Is a raise for one equitable for all, or should there be adjustments made within? I don't know that. If I could have a motion to take a 5-minute break and everybody can collect their thoughts a little bit.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Tranby,
I'll second that.
second by Zorn.
Okay.
Back in 5 minutes. Call the meeting to order. Where's the ARPA?
ARPA funds are not within this budget, but they are in, like, we got them in the liability report. So there is 50,000 in ARPA funds, it's just not within this budget.
And what are they?
What are those ARPA funds, Wayne?
I think there is some possibility to use that for salaries, I don't know for sure.
Well,
American Rescue Plan signed with President Biden on March 11, 2021 provides for the distribution of federal physical recovery funds to states, tribal governments, metropolitan cities, counties, and non-entitlement payments to local governments which are generally populations below 50,000.
So usually on ARPA funds, there was restrictions how it was spent. I think North Dakota, the majority of the counties within North Dakota are so small that I don't think that money is restricted. It was just growing money that we got. I don't know. I don't recall what the restrictions are, but I think that they decided with the size of these counties in North Dakota that there wasn't much for restrictions.
how much was in that account?
50,000.
50,000. Permits?
Permits is like for hauling
Yeah,
overloads and stuff like that.
that's
And a lot of it was when they wrecked the road over there.
right. That's basically an insurance policy, goes back to repairs.
Supposed to.
Okay.
I was visiting with Bob on that, and I asked him about that permit fund, and he, and he mentioned that, we don't sell permits anymore, and that isn't an attached fund, so we could use it however we wanted to. It's not designated.
The permits are collected by the road department now.
That's correct.
Yeah, for that.
And how much was in that fund?
It says in the,
31,460.
Okay.
on the permit part of it.
And then the COVID fund. So if you remember, the COVID funds would be in, because of the situation that senior citizens has been in, having to manage the ride share and the Meals on Wheels has kind of got turned over to them. So they're, you can imagine from after COVID how strapped they are. The two meals they get doesn't come close to covering it. So we've been using the COVID funds this 2 years now to supplement the North Dakota ride share, which is not only for senior citizens. That takes people, most of the people have to go to the hospital in Fargo, Grand Forks, wherever else, to go get groceries. It's for everybody in Griggs County. The Meals on Wheels is the same thing. It was originally set up to benefit the seniors only, and it was a very small program, but being government what it is, and the federal and the state, they channeled all the services into the senior citizens and without giving them the budget to do it. So without using those COVID funds to support the senior citizens, I think it was $30,000 2 years ago, $60,000 last year, those two programs will collapse. There will be no ride share, there will be no Meals on Wheels, or at a greatly reduced, greatly reduced. So eventually the COVID funds are going to run out. The hope is that in between the time the COVID funds run out and we can arrive at some other way of financing the ride share and the Meals on Wheels, because it's not sustainable with $60,000 current levy. And they're right, the senior citizens, it shouldn't be called the senior citizens. This is a social welfare program. It should be under social services, but it's not. So there's a need, I think that is a public need that needs to be satisfied. And the COVID funds have the ability to do that for maybe 1 or 2 years. After that, we're gonna have to find another way to keep those two services viable, because of course the population keeps getting older and older and older. And this goes to one of those priority things. So is that COVID money better spent serving the citizens in need of Griggs County, or is it better spent paying wages? I'm not answering that question, I'm asking the question. It would take quite an argument.
There's other expenses than just wages that makes the budget higher, so.
Let me rephrase. Is there a better use for that money than the social welfare system that it's currently supporting? So with the ARPA funds, and we don't know if they can be spent, but Jamie says they can, and the permits, and Wayne isn't sure of that, that would give us $81,000. That would now take us down to $350,000 off of the total request.
With the wages? No. Oh.
I still think the COVID funds would be able to put in there, at least some of it, if not.
How much is in the COVID fund? 150?
130, isn't it? Isn't it 130?
No. It is $155,442.08.
Yeah.
So if we don't revise our plan with senior citizens, 2.5 years.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we did
somewhere,
about
I met
40,000.
with them, of course, at their budget meeting about a month and a half ago, and it looks like probably 40 to 50,000 would be needed to sustain the program out into the middle of next budget season. That won't get it all the way through.
So then, 3 years.
Again, I don't know. 2 mills.
Mills again?
That's at the limit.
Well, that is the limit.
Yes.
You can't give them any more than that. That's what it's, well, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a very good example of setting priorities. Where are not our priorities? Where's the public's priorities?
I'm looking through some of the restrictions of ARPA, specifically in their fact page funds allocated to states cannot be used to directly or indirectly offset tax reductions or delay a tax or tax increase. The primary eligible uses of the funds include revenue replacement for the provision of government services to the extent of the reduction in revenue due to COVID. Expenditures are COVID-19 expenditures or negative economic impacts of COVID-19, including assistance to small businesses, households, and hard-hit industries and economic recovery, premium pay for essential workers, and investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure.
Yeah.
Are you
So,
reading that from, which website are you reading that from?
Right from it's the ARPA site, it's the, I don't know.
What is the website?
so the legal opinion on whether we can use
It's
those.
it's the Government Finance Officers Association is where I found it.
So the legal opinion on whether we can use the ARPA funds?
Government.
I want to do some more research, but you might be able to use it for if you implement the new program for the auditor's office or the accounting program. That might be something that you can spend ARPA on. I want to do a little more research
Okay.
before I give you guys an opinion.
Wasn't there gonna be two payments, Samantha?
Excuse me?
Wasn't there gonna be two payments of 50,000?
Yeah, there's supposed to be 2 tranches of payments, and
We had to apply by January 31st, 2023, which you did.
I think it has to be spent by the 2026 too.
yep.
I believe.
Is there an obligation as to when these funds are spent?
What?
The ARPA funds?
Timeline.
December 2026, I believe.
Where they're spent or when they're spent.
When?
When?
They have to be committed by the end of 2024 and they have to be spent by the end of 26.
But it can't buy down levy.
No, but it could go towards anything, a purchase on there. You could use it to purchase some software, the servers, so, to verify that.
So as we're looking at that, we still haven't gone through the budget. So did we then to assume that every item that has been asked for is gonna be granted? Because that's what we're operating off of right now.
No, up to
On the
say.
ones that's being presented to you, the changes that are different in there, in the budget that's presented, is exactly, the tax director, I changed it to a full-time position. So that is shown in the Stephanie budget, if you wanna name it that. And under the NDSU extension, I went with the vision of merging the weed officer and Jeff's secretary as one position,
The what?
the weed officer.
Weed officer?
Yep, and his assistant as one position.
Aren't you the weed officer? So I don't understand then. So we're not gonna have a weed officer?
She's saying that his deputy would be the weed officer. I would give that up.
Could also be the weed officer. So then that 6,000 will go towards his cost share to take care of that, to have that person.
Did our current weed officer resign that I didn't know about?
Well, in visiting with Sam earlier today, she said she didn't mind. When I suggested it, so it's a suggestion to be out there to, as a proposal.
we at then with the wages, if we're gonna just determine the wages first, the raises, before we can move forward with the budget?
Well, anywhere from,
0 to 8.7.
So somewhere between 120.
I'd say we should.
somewhere
To
between
me,
a
we
hundred,
should
yeah.
I should say personally. To me, I think we should meet in the middle. At
Some-
the 4.7, or even if we could drop it down just a little bit below that. I know it's a kick in the teeth for you guys. I apologize, but with all this other stuff that we have to pay for, it's, we're kind of meeting you a little bit to help you guys out, but at the same time, we're,
I guess I'm at 6, that's what I'm thinking. Five?
I'm kind of with Josh about the 4.3, and meet in the middle, we're gonna cover all the other costs.
I'm thinking, well,
it's not some personal
Looking at-
towards employees. It's
No,
not.
no, it's not.
I'm thinking 5.
Because like they said, it's any dollar amount is even the percentage. It's just that 1% how much it is going to increase all the additional costs on top of that. Like you said, the healthcare, the Social Security, all that makes that go up too. So to me, I think we should be in the middle at 4.5 ish. I mean, it's whatever you guys want to do, but to me, they're still getting a cost of living raise and everything else. And, we can at least get a final number here and then keep moving forward.
So rough numbers then, that using that,
So let's say we just say rough numbers at 4%.
so 4% of a million or 1.1 is 44,000, and then half again of that is 66. So just say $67,000. That's added on into this 268,000 number. And that puts us at 355. If we can take off all the ARPA funds, you take 81,000 off of that, so we're right back at that 270 number. It didn't go anywhere. The only way you get the number to go to the left is to make cuts. If you add things, it goes to the right. It's plain and simple. It's simple math.
Yeah. But like I said, we gotta get a fund set on the wages too.
I mean, if that's the number that the majority wants to move forward is 4%, we can tentatively agree on that and run the numbers again. But it's going to run. We're still going to end up with the total levy increase at right around $350,000. Given that. Then you have to go back into the budget and decide what other items, if any, can be cut.
Mm-hmm.
Or have a tax increase, which isn't so bad.
Oh, like I said, I'm at 4%. So. Or even.
So we have a tentative, non-binding motion to increase the salaries by 4%. Do I have a second to that? Is there a second?
4%. 4%. I'll second
I
that.
personally would be 5. I like the 8.7 since that's what it says in the.
We were asking for a second for the motion or 4%. Do you second that, Stephanie?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Zorn. Any further discussion on the 4%?
That's where Steph could say 5, right?
Hmm?
That's where she could debate to be 5, right?
That's what I was thinking is 5.
We have a motion for 4%. We're discussing the 4% motion. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion on the 4%. Any further discussion or any discussion? Barring no discussion, we'll take this to a tentative vote. This is non-binding. Avriel?
Aye.
Tranby?
No,
Zorn?
Aye.
Edlund?
No,
Wakefield votes aye. Tentatively move forward. Step 1 in about 50. So, the next item on here that we need to deal with is the IT budget. Little background in this, the IT budget is a contractor. The number put forward is not a budget number, it is a proposed number because we still have to put the IT budget out for bids. It's on over $100,000 now. It has to be bid. So between now and the first of the year, when the 24 budget actually goes into place, we're gonna have to award the IT budget to the lowest bidder.
Would Grace County would then be in breach of contract with the mobility?
What's that?
You would be in breach of contract, then you'd have to actually sign off saying that you'll cancel the contract.
We'll look at that again. So now we're held hostage by a
Well,
contractor? I mean, we got by with it before because it was under $100,000. Now you've pushed it up over $100,000. We don't have any.
I made recommendations.
We don't.
And a lot of this licenses or budget items in here are not under my control, so maybe that should be separated out for being a mobility cost and all other costs.
Again, we owe it to everybody, the citizens included, to bid out contracts. That's the way it works.
And I've always said that.
So, and you agreed with that when we talked before, and it's always been, that's always been the case. So anyway, there's where we're at now. We have to put forward a tentative IT budget. We don't have to spend all that budget. The county commission is in charge of that budget, not the contractor. That's the way it is. It's not a department head. So tentatively, we need to decide on a number for the IT budget, and then depending on the contractor, as we pay the bills, distribute that budget amongst.
I got a question on that. With the tentative number, are you wanting to take off all of the improvements that need to be done, like the server and everything, because those are items that need to be completed? Or is this something that you need tentative contracts for somebody who's gonna be the contract person, but leave on here the work Travis has already proposed to do?
No.
Because that is a different, you have the contract versus the side improvements. Does that make sense to you guys?
So here's the way it works, Steph. We have to hire a contractor. We don't know exactly how much money will be spent on the contractor, if it's a new one or an old or an existing contractor. We have to put money into that budget, but all that money doesn't need to be spent, and the decisions on how to spend that money come as it needs to be spent. That's how the contractor portion of this works. So we put forward the money. If it doesn't get spent, it comes back. If we didn't put forward enough money, then we'll have to figure that out also. But
what line item are you talking about, John, on the IT part?
It's not a line item. It's the contract. We don't know what the contract's gonna cost. We don't know what the contract's gonna cost, so we put it out there.
so you're looking for a dollar figure. You're looking for a figure what we can go up to. Is that what you're looking for?
You're right, because if we're gonna bid this, then it has to come back as,
Okay.
there you go. I mean, that's the process.
Well, I can't imagine somebody's going to bid that much less then what's the expenses on here for these? And Tyler Technologies is a flat number for the software.
We don't know what the bids are gonna be until we put the bids out there
What are you gonna
And-
ask
and-
them to bid for?
for IT services.
Okay, so for the tech support IT services,
IT services. IT services is a contract position. It's not a department. The IT budget is supposed to be under the control of the county commission, and we bid it out, just like a road project, same thing. Because we're paying, so we need to put forward some money into that budget so that we can bid it, and then we have the right to,
okay.
so that's how that's supposed to work. So what is that number, what is that number that you want to use for the IT budget?
I am still not clarified as far as what you want in the IT budget, because you're talking about the IT contract for the service, which is the monthly contract where he takes care of it monthly. But also, if you look at the budget, there is numbers in here that are for replacements, for upgrades. Now, those probably should be bid separately.
Steph, we don't know what the proposals for our IT bid are gonna be until we put them out there. That's the point of
You're
this.
gonna give them a list of things that we're looking to do. You're gonna have somebody bid exactly what's on this, everything that's on here.
No, we're going to put forth a set of guidelines. Maybe the proposal says a minimum services to accomplish the mission that we want to accomplish. That's the purpose of a bid, is to make somebody dig down deep and give us the best price, because they might lose the contract to someone else. That's the whole purpose of bidding projects. And so we'll have to arrive at a perspective on what we want done. But in order to do this budget, we need to have a number. What is the
I'm
number?
gonna leave the budget the same. I leave the budget the same and see if somebody comes in lower. So 347,000, but you should leave the budget, and then if somebody comes lower, then have them go lower.
We have to levy the money once we put it into the budget.
I agree.
Okay, but
You
that
don't know what somebody's
doesn't,
going
you
to do.
agree, but that
So-
doesn't mean that's exactly the way it's supposed to be done. We need to vote on this. How do you want it done? So that, if you leave it exactly the way it is, we're making no progress, and maybe that's the point. Maybe we don't want to make progress on lowering what we're going to take away from the citizens, but I do. So let's see what happens. What is the number? If you want to put that number out there and have it voted on, then do that.
I will make a motion to leave the budget at 347,906.60. And somebody can bid on that if they want.
The budget for the IT is not 349,960.
Oh, what is the motion, what is the number for the IT then?
I don't know, you're making the motion.
Okay, well then that's the motion I'm looking for. For that-
So you want to raise the IT budget to 349,960.
Isn't that what it's showing right now for the year to date?
We have a motion from staff to raise the budget, the IT budget to 349,960. Is there a second on that? Could I have a second on that motion? Barring no second, motion fails. We need a number put forward for the IT services. Not a specific budget, we need a number put forward for the services as we're gonna bid this.
Any ideas, Travis?
Which we currently are paying what for services?
We will write the perspective for the services once we decide what the budget is going to be. That's how it works. You put forward how much money you're gonna spend, and then what services could you get for that money? B17 right now is it?
That's what I'm looking at, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you talked about, 208,000 in there, see. That's what we're discussing
department as
No.
far as.
That's what I mean. Why is it in there with yours? It shouldn't be. It's making your budget
Well,
look
that's what I'm
horrible.
asking, so should we move anything that I have no control over, or DNA really has no
But see, like
control
that's
over into a different
IT, so I didn't know where it needed
Guys,
to go.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just trying to get this straightened out so we can go somewhere.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what I'm
this,
saying.
this structure was done by the commission. Do you wish to change it?
So,
I can help tell which line items are not under DNA's control.
would be, well, Tyler's the one that would be first.
So if I'm reading this correctly, the current IT itself budget is at 138,839. And then
Correct.
included in on that, the final number, 208,841 is added for Tyler Technologies, bringing the bottom number to 347,906. Is that, am I reading that correctly?
Yeah.
That's correct.
So what we're saying is we need to kick out that Tyler Technology out of there temporarily, right? Or do we-
You can do
Yeah.
you can do
Or do
whatever
some-
you want to try to do. This is a process of all five of us here.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean,
So
What I'm-
basically what you're,
But-
what you're trying to say is, we could kick Tyler Technologies out, and then we could put it up, open for bids, and then when we get a bid and get it a vote approved, put it in a budget. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
no, the budget comes first because so how much money do we want to spend on IT, and then we tailor our request, and
No, but I mean saying like put it in next year's budget. That's what I'm saying. Get bids.
this
get
is
what-
next year's budget.
I mean, like when we do the budget next year, I should say the following year, the 2025 budget.
No, this will be bid between now and the end of the year.
Okay.
That's why we do the budgets and then the contracts run.
Well,
from
and
the
that's what I was
first.
making sure. I didn't know if you were trying to say, hey, let's wait on this, get bids, and then do it the following year.
No,
I am confused because a lot of these are improvements, like replace the backup, bring county shop annual internet, or the new phone server. These are expenses that are improvement expenses.
a lot of them,
Sewer upgrade.
a lot of them have been budget requests for years, and we still getting by without them. The county shop being one, Wayne.
Yeah, I need internet down there.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
What's the number, guys?
But I also, are we going to, where are we gonna put Tower Technologies then? Is that just gonna be kicked out of the budget altogether, or is that gonna be moved somewhere?
Well, that'll be the next thing that'll be the next thing that we're putting the cart before the horse here. But what do you want to do for the IT? Because keep in mind, every time that we approve something without making a cut, it's just going to make it. We're going to be right back to where we started. Where we should start is the ones that are of most importance. The ones that are of most importance to the. I mean, we should probably be looking at the sheriff's budget. We should probably, the road department budget is probably okay. We need to make a cut to the reserve in order to make that one balance. It won't give us any savings, but it'll balance the budget. But the sheriff's budget is, each time you spend money on something else, you're putting more pressure onto the priority budgets to make cuts on, and that's probably not the way we should be doing it. The priority budget should probably be funded almost in their entirety, and the other budgets, the lesser important budgets, should be where the cuts would be made.
I think this budget is fine.
Unfortunately, the other four didn't think so when we made the motion, so we're right back to where we started. Okay, we're not making any, let's go to the sheriff's budget. We're not making any, let's go to the sheriff's budget. B19. Scott, we've got 45,000 that the school has agreed to.
yep, that's correct.
Okay.
That's already in the revenue
Okay,
side.
I got a
That's
question
not
for
in
that.
expense.
Okay, they asked today at me who we would pick up, how are we gonna share that? I mean, did we pick up the benefits, or you follow what I'm saying? How does that gonna work? We haven't really discussed that
We
end.
haven't discussed it.
You know, that's what they were asking.
But I mean, the 45,000 was just coming directly
Correct.
into it, and I would assume that Bob was going to then manage the whole program. The 45,000 was just a payment,
Yeah,
yeah.
and because they were asking what do we supply and that stuff, I said, well, you know, it didn't be discussed yet, so,
And that's, yeah.
you follow me.
And when was the city gonna vote on it?
I didn't hear that part.
Okay, so Jamie, your deputy is full-time? Okay, so office deputy here, $10,000. I assume that's a raise?
No? Is it just, what is that, Jamie? Is that just kind of a,
this is Bob's budget. I don't know. I think he was just adding more.
Well, I know he wanted
Essentially a raise
to
for
add a
him.
$10,000 raise for the chief deputy, I know.
No,
No, this is the office, so the office deputy
Oh,
is
I see.
Jamie's office
Yeah, I see what
deputy.
you're
She's
saying.
getting
Oh, I'm
a
sorry.
full-time salary. But here, another $10,000 when she's already working full-time. And then she's included in the overall raise package, whatever the 4% we just decided upon.
I think that's what it was for an increase in salaries, and she gets pulled two directions. But
That she
she works
worked,
for you and then works for Bob, correct?
but she works full-time. So is she working more than full-time now?
I would say probably, yeah. Yeah.
So she,
I don't think she doesn't take too many lunch breaks. I know that.
so this is not going from 3/5 to full-time. This is a salary increase over and above the 4%. Okay,
But she is not an elected official,
she's not,
but yet she'll still get the 4%.
along with everybody else. So the 4% as I take it, Josh, was for everybody?
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, one other clarification. I had a couple inquiries. We authorized the sheriff to buy bulletproof vests with the COVID money, correct?
What was that, John?
We authorized the sheriff to buy the bulletproof vests with the COVID money, didn't
We
we?
never, yeah, well, we never actually, I mean, the first one we bought from,
No, but last meeting, we voted on that 5 to,
I wasn't here last.
oh, yeah. Well, no, you weren't. So that's already been done. Okay. Because I don't see that in the budget here, but that was already taken care of with the COVID money.
Oh, no.
No,
Can we,
No, you said he could, but he
Right.
said that he had it in his budget so that
Okay,
he was
yeah.
good for another year.
So we authorized him to do it, and he said he was good for another year.
Right.
Okay. So he declined to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. The radios and repeaters, we don't know the cost on that. This isn't this was not a estimate, I don't believe. This was just a guess, correct?
I think he had gotten some
he
quotes.
got some quotes, and he got there's some grants on these too, you know.
yeah, 1,500 a radio. I thought he put that, because I know he was gonna give us a final number with
Yeah.
those grants.
I know.
thought.
I know him
We
and
got the
Brian
grant
had
funds and that was
been
12,000.
Midwest
Okay.
Communications.
But did that go back in his revenue somewhere?
I have it on the revenue side of here.
Okay, so
In the
that's,
general fund.
so that 50,000 then has been reduced to 38,000.
Correct.
But it's gonna show up here as
Yeah,
a request.
and then are we required in the next, when we have to switch everything over, Jamie?
March, I think it was.
You know, switch the radios to the
Yeah,
next
sometime in
system?
2020, early
Yeah.
2024.
And these
I'm not
radios
sure.
would do that, correct?
Yeah.
They're just a digital, they have more
Yeah.
channels.
Yeah. So
Um,
everybody can hear it, right, there's more,
No, you just have more channels. So say there, now instead of channel 1 and channel 2, now there's channel 1.5, 1.6, 1.7.
It's so they can radio out to the state, so they don't get caught by the state.
We went through this 10 years ago in the firefighting business, and the federal business.
Yeah,
Had to have them. We've had them in airplanes for 10 years and none of the entities use them.
Oh.
They still use the same frequencies. The capability is there, but it hasn't been
Okay,
used yet.
yeah.
I don't see anything other than the patrol vehicle doesn't belong in the sheriff's budget, that belongs in the county vehicle budget.
and the question on that was, we had 20,000 used to be in it, we took it down to 10, correct? We put in a different budget somewhere else?
You're talking about the vehicle?
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
so
It was every 2 years, or every year it was
it
20,000.
was 25,000.
Yeah, every-
25.
Yep.
Yeah, and then
So-
so after 2 cycles, then it gets up to 50-some thousand.
Yeah, yeah.
If you look at
That's how the
your,
last two vehicles have been purchased. you know.
the levy comparison page, we had a levy in there for the, flood 11, at the last meeting. I didn't know what that was or whatever, so I went back, cause we don't levy for floods, so I took it out. Here it was a, budget that we weren't using, so I renamed it for county vehicles.
Okay.
So we levied, 10,500 last year for county vehicles.
Okay.
So we have that in a fund,
Separate fund.
yes,
But it used to be 25,000, correct?
yes. But last year, we
Dropped.
decreased it.
Yeah.
Because we had two new
But you know,
vehicles.
but then the other problem we have now is that we have, the one vehicle is about shot, and Bob's pickup's just about shot too. So there we're running against the wall when, for that end of it, you know. We have to replace those vehicles quicker than we thought it would. You know, we do have 2, we're down to 3, you know, the third one is kind of suspect, you know. You follow what I'm saying?
Mhm. All I'm saying is this needs to get moved out of this budget
Yep.
into a
That's
different
fine.
budget
Into
because
that flood 11.
the sheriff's department doesn't own vehicles, it doesn't own equipment. It's,
Yeah.
you know. And that'll be looked at as we go forward here.
Mhm.
But I have that within the general fund right now.
That's where it's at.
Yeah, that's why you notice in the final allowance on 2024, it's not there.
Yes, because it's within the general fund here.
Hmm.
General expenses B15.
So what are the changes so far with the sheriff? Budget?
None so far, other than the patrol vehicle has to be considered in a different budget.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
The cost is still there, it's just moved over a different line item.
Well, it still has to be decided whether it's going to be spent, yeah. Well, and no, the change being contemplated was the $10,000 office deputy. That is basically a raise on top of a raise if we're going 4%. So that. So on the one I'm looking at, the hourly salary and the second deputy haven't been moved over to the final allowance either, Samantha.
No. That's what I said. None of this budget does not have anybody with deputies. So, Jeff's deputy isn't in there. Maddie's deputy isn't in there. These deputies aren't in there. It's exactly the way as it was the current year.
Well, we have three deputies and a sheriff, correct? Is I reading this correct?
No, you're looking at steps.
Oh. Yeah, but, okay.
The one that I presented does not have any of those. The one that Steph presented has them.
And this is the one that Bob presented. No.
Bob presented this just with those deputies over.
Correct.
Yes.
Are you starting to see the problem of trying to do these individually? Without a number that you have to shoot for, you have no target here, guys. We need to decide how much money we're gonna spend, and then it's pretty easy to go through and say, well, we can afford this and this and this, but we can't afford this. We're gonna, this is number 2 of about 40 that we gotta go, and we're not making any progress at all. We just will give up.
So if we vote on a final number like you were saying, we can still remove from that and bring it down though, right?
Tentatively, we need a number to look at that we're gonna spend, and then we need to start adjusting these
That's what I'm
requests,
saying.
correct?
That's what I'm saying. So, like, let's say we agree on the total 300 and what was it, 54,000 or something like that, whatever. And then we can turn around, go back and make cuts from there if we want to. That's what you're saying, correct?
That's the way a budget works. There's give and take. Otherwise, it's not a budget. It's just an open checkbook and write the checks, and when you get to the end, add it up and bill the citizens.
Okay. So what is that number then with the 4%?
I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I have a 4.7%.
They voted on the
I can tell you close what it is. So it's 2023's 1,487,260. That is what we spent last year. And if you add 4% to the wages, you're gonna get another $68,000. So it's 1,550 somewhere in there.
But that doesn't account for any other additional expenses that have been added to the budget.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. That allows for the 4% increase to salary and leaves every other expense the same as 2023. So you can figure, if you figure the salary increase at 4%, it's gonna add $70,000.
And then plus all the other increases on top of it. So the 70,000 on top of the, what was it?
Well, then you're at a $500,000 increase, and you're right back. Then if you consider every request and the 4% increase, you're back at $500,000.
Yeah, but you also said we can go back through and cut out what we need to too.
That's what I just tried to get you to do, cut out something without a target to shoot at. How much did you cut?
Well, that's what I'm saying is, if we can agree on a number now, and then go back and cut out a few more there, what's wrong with that?
It is, but the number is the number going to be what the total request is? If the number is what's requested, there's nothing to cut.
Right, we get a target number lower and try and make things fit.
If you agree on the 1.9 million, there's nothing to cut. Then it's over with and it's done. We spent $500,000 over what was spent last year, and I would assume we have a whole bunch of unhappy citizens.
Where are you getting the 1.9 from again?
That's the 8% on top of all the budget requests is 1.9 something in it, Sam.
I'm still looking at the Stephanie budget, so that's what I was looking at.
The Stephanie budget is not what we're looking at. We're looking at the actual budget prepared by the auditor as the Century Code allows for.
The auditor did help prepare this one, John, so.
The 8.7%,
What's the final number on that?
on the 8.7. The overall levy,
Yeah,
$1,921,786.34.
Which is 500 and some thousand higher
that's right.
than the original.
I have another issue that I would like to kind of bring up. This budget has it with the taxable value of this year.
Yeah.
I do not feel comfortable with that being that way, because I have a feeling that it is going to increase. I would like to have the taxable value be higher in this budget than probably what it's gonna come back at. For the, it's cutting off the road department at the 30 mills. It's cutting off the library at the 4 mills. It's cutting off all of those things at their set levies. And once you give me that dollar figure, I can't increase it when the taxable value comes in higher. So then those people would get what the dollar figure you have as a mill.
Budgets are supposed to be prepared how?
Dollars.
Very good. Not by,
But some of
not-
these we
not
do
by
work-
Not by mills. It was an agreement that we would look at the mills, but budgets are supposed to be prepared by dollars.
By dollars, yes.
Right. Because we don't know. That's why the state doesn't allow us to know what the
But
valuations are.
even the library, they budgeted in dollars. I put it in here. It's cutting me off at their 4 mills, even though they requested higher, because the system is going to cut me off.
Because
So-
it's supposed to be that way because the system's only supposed to allow what the value is.
But if I have a taxable value that comes in higher, they budgeted higher, but we didn't in here. It's going to cut me off, and then I'm going to be lower. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean,
That's.
but it's
just
not gonna
my-
make a lot of difference.
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking an increase of maybe $1,000, not $1,000 a mil, over 40 mills, maybe of 750. It's probably gonna make a difference of $30,000 or $40,000, which is negligible when you're looking at $500,000.
So if you took last year's budget, and right now there's a total of 268, and then plus the 4%,
Mhm.
which is 70,000.
It'd put it to 350.
But if we bid the IT, I mean, do we put that into the budget if we're gonna bid on that?
Right, 268 number is allowing every request in this budget.
Okay, okay. Okay,
And that, but 200 and some thousand.
What
of
are you?
that
What do?
Is that Tyler Technologies, right? 280,000 it was. So how do we stand on that then? Do we take that out and get bids and then go for it next year and see if it holds out, or? That's the thing. The only thing that worries me is, I mean, it's not that I don't want to do it or I do want to do it. The thing that worries me is if we ignore it and we wait, something's gonna happen. But the thing of it is if we wait, we can save more money, but it can cost us more money. That's also an issue too.
For the Tyler?
Maybe we could put some away this
So-
year to go towards it, or
So again, it goes back to priorities. I would say on the list of it, that is the least priority, because we have a system in place that works. GovernSoft still works. It's going to work.
I would disagree with that statement.
So
What did you
I
say?
also disagree with technology as a big priority. So if I bring these numbers really quick, if the budget moved to 1.9 million, and if the mill levy is the same as it was last year, that's a $92 increase on a $100,000 home. $92 tax increase. from, compare the difference between last year to this year, if we levied 1.9 million.
No, the $500,000 increase raises the total mills by 24.3. And if you figure the mill levy gonna be at 21,000, it equates to about $500,000. And so then on a $100,000 home, or $100,000 piece of property, that's about $120, not 90, but you're in the ballpark, but it's $120 because you didn't take into account the raise in the mills. So a mill is worth more, but we have more mills. To cover that $500,000 increase, you needed to have, depending on the value of the mill, if a mill was worth $20,000, it'd be 25 mills. If it's worth 21, it's somewhere in that 24 range. So.
Yep, this software, the spreadsheet that I'm using to figure this out is the one that I received from, I received this from North Dakota Association of Counties, and if you plug in the number and do a comparison, yes, you take 88.02 mills with the 67 we took last year. You take the true and full value of 100,000 times taxable value, which is 4.5 for residential. That means the tax would be 396.09 versus the 303 when we levied out the 1.45 million, which gives you $92.66 difference.
Based on how many mills is the county putting against that piece of property? That's what.
It would have to be 88 because it went to 1.9 million versus the 4.5, which requires 67.43.
No, a $500,000 increase at the current mill mill levy, a $500,000 increase at the current mill.
John, I got this directly, the spreadsheet directly from the Association of Counties. She set this up for us to do a quick figures. So
24.5 mills is what it will be.
What was it last year? We had 22.
74 mills, I think we levied for the county last year.
What was it? It was like 21,100 or something like it was worth.
What's that?
It was worth like 21,100, wasn't it? Right in that?
21,500.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, are we making any progress here on a number?
No.
So 200,000 of this is the Tyler Technology, so 68,000 is the improvements that everybody's asking for other than Tyler Technology. Is that correct?
Say that one more time.
The 268,000.
Which budget are you looking at?
Yeah.
Our budget. So he's looking at the 0%, the 268,850.83.
Yes.
208,000 of that is the Tyler Technologies. So if we eliminate that, it would be 68,850.83
Well,
plus our raises.
The 4%.
The 4%.
Yeah.
Which is 70,000. So it'd be 138,000. What?
38,000.
38,000.
There was 16,000 in the IT budget for additional licensing for getting Tyler Technology set up, based on the recommendations they sent off that $108,000 quote.
So 138,000?
Right.
How about if we say $160,000 that we're going to increase this so we can make some progress here? That's giving some slack in case you missed something.
Yeah. I'll make a motion for that.
Okay.
So what are we increasing it over? Over the 1,487?
It's basically eliminated the Tyler Technologies and going off of the budget without the Tyler Technologies.
What did you say?
No,
what number?
we need a number though. So
yeah, put that number.
How much you want to increase it over last year? What number?
Like you said, let's go with 160,000. 160,000, and then like you said, we can make
The budget?
Yes.
Okay, the overall.
The overall budget, so 168,000 overall budget from the 1.487 thousand from last year.
Plus 160. So is the 160, is that with the wages?
Yeah,
Correct.
Okay. So then then the total overall budget comes to $1,647,260. If that's what you want.
Something to work with.
'Cause I think that Tyler Technology deal is gonna just basically keep us on a standstill. And like you said, we gotta move forward here. So, and maybe there's something that we can look it on and look into something in the future, get bids in the future and update in the future.
Okay. So let me put what you put forward here into numbers so we can have something to. This is what you came up with, Sam?
Will this be included in the?
That's my ending, that's what I need to get to.
That are set aside to be put in, or is this
What, how did you get that?
He added 160,000 to last year's budget.
Okay,
You can't put 160 because that's.
but like I need it out of here.
Hmm?
I need it out
That's
of
with
here.
the salary
That's the salary
increase.
increase, yeah.
That's the with and salary increase. We're basically cutting out Tyler
Like, I can't
Technologies
just
and
make
then
this
adding a
number
little
this.
bit
I
more
have
as
to,
a
like, get it out of
buffer,
here.
and then we can adjust it from there.
I know, no, we're not gonna run it, we're just agreeing on what we're gonna get down to.
Oh, yep, okay, gotcha, okay, understand.
So we're gonna end up being a big hit in 2025, and they're gonna have to rush their software to exchange it because it's going to be, no longer have support in 2025, is that what the idea is? A question is.
So we have a proposal from Josh to tentatively have the total levy at 1.647,260.88. Is that correct?
Correct. And that's what I came to too also.
Okay. You got that, Sam?
what was that final number?
1.647,260.88.
And that's with the wage increase.
That's at a 4%. Yeah.
Yep.
Is that in the form of a motion?
Yes, I will make the motion of that.
Motion by Josh to cap the total levy for tentatively cap the total levy for 2024 at $1,647,260.88. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Zorn. Any further discussion?
Yes, that 160, that does not include that 4% increase,
Yes, it does.
the number you presented.
Oh, doesn't it?
So if I take 164, 7,260, subtract 1,487,260, what number is that?
Okay, hold on.
That's 160,000.
Yep,
That doesn't include the wages because the amount we included last year was the flat dollar amount.
The 4% increase was going to raise the salaries by about $68,000. Then you added another, so then you added another $100,000 to the budget over and above that.
Yeah, to cover
Oh, I
whatever.
thought it was 160 on top of that. So only the 100,000 needs to be for the expenses that are increased.
correct.
Because basically what I basically did was I cut out the 208,000.
Yeah, yep, because it leaves you at $68,000, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna add another 70 on top of that.
Yep, that's what I did.
It'll be the 173, or 78, or 38, excuse me.
So just to review, we have a motion to tentatively cap the levy at 1.647,260.88. We received a
No, you guys did that.
motion
No,
and
but the
a
numbers.
second on that.
Oh,
We're still in discussion.
Yeah, I understand that.
So Steph, if you take the 268,850.83, subtract that 208,000, you'll be at 60,000 ish.
And
you
we
plus-
gave a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah, and
or
then
he
plus I added another 70,000 on top of that for the
did. Salaries.
salaries, and then there was leftover, and then I just bumped it up, all like you said, up to 160 to make it more of an even
Okay.
cap.
Any further discussion?
You understand where I'm coming from, Steph?
Yep,
Okay. Barring any further discussion, we'll move on to a roll call vote. Avriel,
Aye.
Tranby,
Aye.
Zorn,
Aye.
Edlund,
no,
Wakefield votes aye. Progress. I think that's a good ending point. We're gonna have to have a special meeting
Yep.
on the budget.
You'll notice
I'll
file.
make a motion to adjourn then.
Not yet.
Oh, can I? Shoot.
We got future business, which is
Oh, that's
the
right.
special meeting, right?
Right.
Well, that'll be dependent on when she gets this budget
Okay.
done. So run this,
next week,
run this budget with the increases and nothing else. So run it as a 2022 budget with the salary increases. That's the only way to do it, right? Or do you want to run it with the proposed budget with the salary increases?
I say run it with, I guess run it off of last year's budget with the proposed increase of 160,000. I mean, maybe I'm looking at.
Well, we
that.
can't add 160 to it, it's gonna be cut. So we're either going to get a budget that says we're at $1,550,000 and we're gonna have $100,000 to add to that budget. Or we're gonna run it as a proposed budget this year and have money that have to be cut out of it. Whichever way you want to
I
do
would like to propose having, make sure that the budget includes the tax director being a full-time position. I believe it needs to be, and dealing with the sales ratio study issue that we're going through right now, I think it's kind of a,
Staff, we're right now, we're deciding how much money we're gonna spend. We're gonna prioritize those positions as we move forward. Is what we've arrived at here finally.
with
That argument can be for the next meeting when we decide what we're gonna spend the money on.
Were we not just discussing what budget to add it to? My suggestion was to add it to the budget with that proposal in it.
Is that a motion?
I'm not asking a lot.
Is that a motion?
Yes,
We have a motion to add the tax director. What's the dollar value?
The the cost dollar value addition to from part-time, full-time. Do you have that dollar amount, Steph?
Sam also has, it's in that budget you guys have in
It's
front of
at
you,
the
the
budget.
deputy budget, they put it in there.
Turning down budget.
And on that, ignore the deputy director, the deputy and the reserve, because that whole 39, the rest of it is like the insurance, the taxes and everything else. That's the salary right there, the 59,
So 60,
688.70.
so the tax director being a full-time with all of those, the tax director's budget would be $62,768.78.
So how much
Thank you,
more?
Sam.
So how much more would we have to add?
Another 25, another 50% of that to cover the.
Nope, that's in here.
Oh, there, I think you said with insurance.
The insurance
So
retirement.
now you
FICA.
want to up your in, now you want to.
No, I just, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, so we know.
And that's
for
what we
sure.
figure out later on when we
Okay.
resume these discussions, I would assume. But anyway, we have a motion to increase the budget, the proposed budget from the 1 million, hang on. here.
$647,260.80.
Yeah, to increase that by another $60,000. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Any further discussion? Barring no discussion, we'll move on to a voice vote. Avriel,
Aye.
No.
Steph?
Aye.
No. Change that number now to 250, to $220,000. We're right back where we started from.
This number,
This 260 is no longer.
this would,
I'd like a motion to adjourn.
That would be me.
Second,
I'll second it.
meeting adjourned.
Now you get that right, Sam, next time.
Why are you so excited to get out of here?